Mining update, lesson about the industry and job hunt video. Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters, and in today's video we are going to go through the prices. We're going to do a lesson about the industry, so we're going to talk about how and why time is money on a mine site, and then we're going to do a job hunt video using all the normal job titles that we use. But first off, I just want to remind everybody again that if you're looking for a mining job, the easiest way to get into the industry is to make yourself an easy win for the mining employers. How do you make yourself an easy win for the mining employers? Learn how it all works, learn what the terms are, learn what all the equipment is and what everybody calls everything. That's the easiest way you can make yourself an easy win for the mining employers, and that's how we help people get jobs. But let's have a look at the prices. So if we go over to our World Jewellery gold price, and again, this isn't the spot price that's on the market, this is the price that you'd have to pay if you went down to Perth Mint and you wanted to go and buy an ounce of gold. So it's $3,700.50 down there. So on the trading desk, it is $3,699 an ounce, and it's well over $2,500 an ounce US, so the price is quite high. Copper is $13,430 Australian on the trading desk, and as you can see, coal is maintaining around that $120 a tonne mark US, and iron ore is at that $98.05, so it's sort of gone sideways for the last week, which is good. It hasn't fallen any further, but like we've been talking about with those two prices, they're down significantly on the highs that they've experienced before. So you can see it was up quite high at one stage here, and now they're expecting the iron ore price to bounce between that $120 and $80. Not that it really matters much for iron ore because they've automated most of the industry, so there's not a real lot of jobs going in that area. There's two sides of the industry now. There's gold and copper, and there's iron ore and coal and lithium and nickel and shutdown and civil, and all those areas are just treading water. They're not really looking for people or booming where they need to find people, whereas the gold area of the industry and the copper area of the industry are really looking for people. So if we come over map with all the gold and copper mines on it, you'll see that there's lots all over the country, and these are the mines that are looking for people at the moment. And so for today's lesson, I just quickly want to go through something that doesn't get taught in inductions really, and it only really gets shown to people when they get on site, and it's not really talked about that much, not anymore anyway, because of safety, because people think that it infringes on safety when you talk about this. I don't really take that road with it, because I think it's something that everybody needs to be aware of, because it's something that's always in the background, and it's where all the pressure comes from. And what I'm talking about is time is money on a mine site. And when I talk about that, what I'm talking about is all the fixed costs, like the wages and the power and all that sort of stuff. So when you're running, if we're talking about a gold mine or something like that, if you're doing 150,000 ounces a year out of that gold mine, so you're doing 12,000 ounces a month, something like that, or a little bit more than 12,000 ounces a month, you're in a medium-sized gold mine in one of these gold mines around the country, and so you've got a lot of fixed costs that you are paying out whether you put stuff through the mill anyway, because they like to keep the mills running and the mill balls rolling, as they say, regardless of what's happening with how much is being run through, purely because when you shut those things off and trying to turn them back on again can be a big headache at times, and it can also cost a lot of money. So you've got all these fixed costs that are around there, and if you don't produce what you're supposed to be producing, the ounces, then it's easy to fall behind. And I just got a story from a mate that illustrates this and illustrates how mining is a lot different than a lot of other industries. My mate, the mine that he's on, they had a remote bogger stuck in the stope. So it was a fairly expensive one. It had been stuck in there for a couple of days, and it didn't, it looked like it was going to be a bit of a long-term project to get it out. So they got a week to get it out, and if they didn't get it out in the week, then they were going to seal it off. They were going to build a paste wall, and they were going to backfill the stope with the bogger in it with paste fill, and put up a new rise and start going again. And why were they doing that, and why did they give them a time limit of the week? Because that particular stope was where a lot of the dirt was coming from that they were putting through the mill. So no dirt coming out of the stope means no money coming in with all the fixed costs going. And like I've been saying to people lately, how many industries have you worked worked in where after a week the company that runs it is prepared to burn a $3 million bit of machinery and probably $3 to $4 million worth of ore just to establish production again. And that's mining, and that's where all the pressure comes from, and that's why so many people, they don't realise that there's a lot of pressure that comes with it all, because you either get the job done or you don't. And if you don't get the job done, sometimes it means that, you know, it can literally be whether the mine stays open or not. It's one of those things, and it's hard to quantify. And you know, I'm not saying, you know, to go against safety. That's the last thing I'm saying. But I'm just saying that, you know, when you get into these jobs, you've got to do them safely, but you've also got to get them done, and you've got to realise that time's money on a mine site, and that pressure is always going to be there. And a lot of people don't handle that pressure very well. A lot of people come from backgrounds where it's okay to add an extra day to the project. That's not a big deal. In mining, they don't add any extra days. If you lose a day for any reason, it's just booked as downtime, and they book it as a loss. So it works like that. It's a completely different way of looking at it than a lot of other industries look at the way they run their mine sites. So yeah, there is a lot of pressure there. So if we come over and have a look at the jobs where all this pressure is, and the reason these entry-level jobs come up so often is because people jump into this without doing their research and understanding the sort of pressure that even a basic truck driver is under to get their loads out in a day. If you're not producing, you're not going to be there very long. It's as simple as that. But there's jobs all over the country. So you've got entry level here in Perth, you've got entry level up around Kalgoorlie, dump trucks in and out of Darwin, entry level in New South Wales, nipper job in WA, offsiders jobs, a nipper job in WA, entry-level offsider jobs in WA, truck jobs in New South Wales. There's just work everywhere. Truck job in WA, truck job in WA again. Yeah, it's just there's work all over the country for the hard rock underground side of thing. And again, the reason that it's mostly underground is because a lot of the mine sites, when the open pits hit about 200 metres down, it becomes more profitable or easier just to turn it into an underground mine. And that's why there's so many underground jobs going at the moment. But if you want to have a look at the surface, we'll type surface in and have a look. And again, like we were talking about last week, there's a lot of offsiders jobs and drillers jobs in here, and there's a few all-rounded jobs, but there's not that many truck driving jobs if you look the way through. Hardly any. Whereas, 12 months ago, this would have been full with truck driving jobs and entry-level truck driving jobs as well. And the reason that it's not anymore is because the coal and the iron ore price is taking a hit, and lithium took a hit, and nickel took a hit as well. But also a lot of these big open pit, shallow open pit mines and strip mines that nickel and iron ore and coal sort of mine, they're all going driverless. There's no truck driving jobs. It's all driverless, which is unfortunate. But it's just the way the industry is. There's still lots of jobs around, it's just that they've moved. So if we type driller offsider in, there's lots of jobs on the surface. Most companies need you to have a HR for the surface drilling jobs. That's because the rig will be a HR rig that you're driving around, and it'll be the 12-speed gearbox, the Road Ranger gearbox. So I know a lot of people are being told that they can get a HR automatic license. The only reason that nowadays you get a HR license is to go drill offsiding on the surface or drilling on the surface. And if you're looking for those sort of things, then you definitely need a full HR license. HR auto's just not going to cut it. So lastly, let's have a look at utility. And utility's been a bit interesting because I noticed this one, and this pretty much sums it up. It's like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and it's a good indication of the difference between starting as a utility worker and starting as a nipper. So it's an even time roster, and for an even time roster, you're getting $68,000 a year. For an even time roster with the underground job, you're starting on 90 and it's going up from there. Yeah, there won't be much play in that. You won't go much higher than that. It just is what it is. And again, you're going through all these jobs, you'll see some of them up around the 80,000 to 90,000 a mark for a 2-in-1. If you're doing 2-in-1 driving a truck starting with one of the big companies, you're looking at that 110 to 120,000 depending on which company that you start with and what day rate you start with. But yeah, there's still lots of jobs. There's still a few jobs around. The pool has shrunk a little bit because of the downturn with the shutdown work, because of the narrowing of the industry, with the lithium and nickel and coal and iron ore mines going into care and maintenance, so they need less shutdown workers and there's less civil projects around, which means there's less utility workers around altogether. But they still need people, and because they've got a bit of a choice, I've noticed that there's a few jobs like this that are coming out that are being a little bit more honest about what you're getting yourself into, which is interesting. But yeah, if you want to get into the industry and you want a production mining job, if you want to get in there and make beds and do that, and that's your goal, then there's nothing wrong with that, and this is the way to do it. But if you're thinking about using a utility job as a stepping stone into a mining job, it doesn't really work like that. And I know I've talked about this before, but go and have a look at the videos on poaching rules. If you want a production mining job, underground's the place to go. And if you want to learn how it all works, the best way to do it is do the DIY Intro to Underground Mining package. It's got all the information in there that you need to know, so you can come over here and have a look at the PDF on it all, and it goes through what you're going to learn about it, how it all works, how the whole mine cycle works, and what scaling is, and safety, and surviving the first 12 months. It's got all the information in there that you need to know, so it makes it a lot easier for you. And it's the same with the nipper course. It goes through what the nipper does, the different things, watering down a heading and watering down a stope, and general mining information. Really important stuff in there about stuff that you just need to know and understand how it all works. Tag boards, pre-start meetings, safety representatives. Seen a lot of people burn their career in safety meetings because they didn't really understand the whole point of them and what was going on with them and what the employers really wanted out of them. But yeah, there's lots of information in here, and if you want some help with your resume, then Jess, who does the podcast with me, her company does the resume for our 3-step plan, and that's a really good package. You get the DIY as well as the resume service, and that's pretty good for the $825. That's what a lot of places are just charging just to get a resume done these days too, which is a bit ridiculous when you think about it. But anyway, yeah, like I said, you can open all these PDFs up and have a look and see how it all works, and then yeah, go from there. But if you want a job these days, the easiest place to go and get a job is in the gold mines or the copper mines in South Australia. There's lots of work going around there. There's lots of work in the middle of New South Wales, up the north of Queensland. Tasmania's opened up again. Last week I posted a whole heap of jobs in Tasmania. And as always, Kalgoorlie, if somebody says to me, I want a job in 2 weeks' time, what I'm telling them to do is to do a 3-step plan or a DIY package, get their education up to speed, get their resume done, and then heading over to Kalgoorlie and sending your resume a week before you get there, just to let everybody know that you're arriving. You probably won't get an interview because they get loads of people tell them that they're coming across that just don't show up. So what most people normally get told is come and see me when you get here. And so yeah, you walk through the door, tell them I called last week and I'm here, and that always makes a really good impression, and you go from there. And that's how you can get a job quite quickly if you want to. But the thing is to prepare yourself. Make sure that mining's going to be for you. And the best way to work out mining's going to be for you or not is to do this training, because we don't pull any punches. The whole idea behind the training is to teach you exactly how it all works, so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. And if you can hold a conversation with the foreman in the interview and show them that you understand how it all works and the good stuff and the bad stuff, then it puts you so far ahead of everybody else that's not funny. It literally puts you 6 to 8 weeks ahead of everybody else that they're interviewing on the day. And that's how people get jobs through us. So I hope that information helped, and if you could share this video around and like and subscribe the channel. Thanks.